Hi everyone, it's Bill Straub with Modern Thirst. Thanks for watching. We have a review today for you for the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. This is batch A119, and that signifies A is the first batch of the year. 119 means month 1, January, and 19 is 2019, so first batch of the year. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof has always been one of my favorite bourbons. It's relatively affordable, somewhat easy to find compared to a lot of other limited offerings, and it just packs a ton of flavor. It's 12 years old, just like the old standard Elijah Craig used to be. This one clocks in at 135.2 proof. Now, some of the older ones have been higher than this, obviously. Some have been lower. Around 2017, there was a series of releases that were lower than usual for Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, and they culminated in B517, which to me was the best that they've done yet. I had credited that at the time for the slightly lower proof, but I'd kind of learned as they kind of crept back up in proof over the last few batches that's probably not necessarily the case, because they were excellent also, and they were getting up to higher proofs. I think C918, for example, is 131.4 proof, so it's by no means a low proof bourbon. But this one is back up to 135.2. This is fairly high fairly high proof for a bourbon, but I'm really looking forward to trying this. I really love that they have kept this whiskey at 12 years old. The old Elijah Craig standard small batch used to be 12 years old, as most of you probably know. And a couple of years ago, they took the age statement off the bottles. And it's still good whiskey, but it went from being an oaky, mature, great value whiskey to being kind of a mild, sweet, kind of a do-it-all whiskey. You can use it in cocktails and kind of sip on it neat, but it doesn't have the punch that it used to have at 12 years old. And that's okay, depending on exactly what you're looking for in a bourbon. But I love that this has stayed at 12 years old. It stays true to its roots. And this is really closer to what Elijah Craig ought to be, in my mind. So let's go ahead and, we've already tasted a good amount of this, but I'm going to go ahead and taste it a little bit more for you today. And one thing that I've noted on this, there's always a little bit of a nuttiness to Heaven Hill products, and this, of course, is a Heaven Hill product. But this one certainly has a note of bananas on the nose, which I don't normally get with Heaven Hill, but in this case, it's really nice. Lots of vanilla. A little bit of caramel, a little bit of simple syrup, and definitely some oak. Now, but what I'm getting underneath that is kind of a really rich, kind of a combination of molasses and brown sugar. It's a really nice nose. It's very typical with Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. They're very full flavored, lots of aromas. And those flavors really do carry through to the palate. This is a really good whiskey. Definitely has that brown sugar, kind of baked goods on the tip of the tongue with a little bit of simple syrup. The mid palate gets a burst of spice, kind of cinnamon red hots, black pepper. There's a lot of oakiness that kind of rounds out the palate as well. It's very pleasant. The finish is actually, I would call this medium to long. It's not a long finish, but it's not a short, not even really medium. It's somewhere in between there. But it's very pleasing. Sometimes what you get with 12-year-old whiskeys is you get this barrel tannin kind of sensation or taste on the periphery, especially on the finish, where it gets a little bit bitter. It kind of wants to prickle your tongue a little bit. Get a little bit of a yeasty. Some people call it the end grain from the barrels. Get a little bit of a flavor like that around the periphery, and you don't get that with this. This is very well blended from 12-year-old barrels because it never becomes too oaky, which is really hard to do at 12 years old. This one remains a very sweet offering of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Some of them in the past have been very hot, kind of drifting towards that ethanol note. Some have been very, very oaky. This one has lots of oak, but not too much, and it remains very sweet. This is a really good expression. In fact, I've kind of thought as I've worked my way through this media sample, it's one of my favorite releases of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. This is A119 again. This is going to range somewhere around a 92 to a 93 on the Modern Thirst scale, which puts it up there with some of our better whiskeys. We don't tend to go much higher than that unless it's something really, really awesome. And this is a really good one. So kudos to Heaven Hill again. This is a great release of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Hope you liked the video. If you do, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We all do this as a labor of love. We don't really get paid for our services. So anything you can do that helps us support the site is great. Patreon.com/ModernThirst. And we have well over 300 whiskeys reviewed now on ModernThirst.com. We get about 325,000 views a month. So please check us out there as well. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe and comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Cheers.